It doesn't matter where we go or who we speak to. It seems that absolutely everyone is interested in elephants.
Debbie, it's so nice to finally meet you.
It's so nice. Thank you for doing this.
Okay, I do have a question for Myra Wilson from Phoenix. He would like to know, how fast can elephants run?
Asian elephants can run about 15 miles an hour, but because African elephants are so much larger than Asian elephants, they can actually run about 25 miles an hour. So if you think about like the fastest human, which would be basically Usain Bolt, and he ran about 28 miles an hour in the 100-meter dash, there's very few humans that can actually outrun an elephant. So that should tell you something. If you're ever in Kenya, in Africa, and you have an elephant charging you, you're probably not going to be able to outrun it.
You're probably right. And how big are African elephants?
The short answer of that question is they're simply massive. African elephants can be as tall, between 10 to 13 feet tall, and several tons, up to 9 tons, 7 to 9 tons. Obviously different, females are smaller than males. Elephants never stop growing throughout their entire life. But what we're seeing is, because poachers always go after the oldest individual because they always have the largest tusks, we're seeing these sizes coming down more and more. So, if we look back 100, 200 years ago, elephants would have been significantly larger than what we're seeing today.
Wow. And I do have a question for Miles from Charlottesville. And I wanted to know this myself. I heard that African elephants are actually larger than woolly mammoths. Is that true?
That's true. African elephants are bigger. It's amazing, but we always look at woolly mammoths as being this just gargantuan animal. But they are more closely related to Asian elephants and not Africans. So yeah, that is actually true. African elephants are larger than woolly mammoths, and woolly mammoths are larger than Asian elephants.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. Okay, I have another question for Mark Stevens from Steptoe, Nevada. He wants to know, what inspired you to work with elephants?
I first got interested in elephants when I was 8 years old, and I watched this nature show about a woman, Daphne Sheldrick, and her husband, David Sheldrick, and they would rescue these elephants in Kenya and raise them up and re-release them back into the wild. And it was this mind-blowing thing to me that people could do this. But there was one elephant in particular that this episode talked about, and it was an elephant named Eleanor. And she transfixed me from that moment to this. And she stayed back with Daphne for reasons no one knows or understands. And she helped Daphne for 33 years raise and release these elephants. And the elephants are always able to go back into the wild of their own volition. So why Eleanor stayed back was the one thing that just completely, riveted me. I wanted to understand the answer to that. So I began copying down their names after that first episode in a notebook, and then searching out every way that I could to find out more information, whether it was in a magazine or they talked about them in books. And what I did was I kept track of each one on its own sheet of paper. So anytime that elephant showed up in any of the information, any of the places that I looked, I would just add that piece and add exactly word for word what it said about that elephant. And I turned that into databases on each individual elephant. So inspiring to me. And I still do that to this day. And I do have to say that it is, it is it literally is my life's work.
And that's what you talk about in your book.
I do. Eleanor is who I start my book with. I talk about her first. She's the one that just really grabbed my imagination from the get-go.
Debbie, thank you for sharing your story. Really, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
You can help us by liking or sharing this video, or subscribe to stay up to date on everything we're doing next. And leave your thoughts or ask questions in the comments below. And thank you for watching another episode of The Elephant in the Room.